mi amigos, and welcome back to the second episode of Nomad Love Lab. Tonight, we're doing something special. We're having a confessional, but more than just a regular confessional. This is something that's going to be anonymous. And since it's going to be anonymous, I would like to dub this segment type as After Dark. You know, where we get to hear the real nitty-gritty from individuals without actually showing their faces. They can really share with you exactly how they were feeling during a monumental moment of change in their lives regarding their heart and travel. So I'd love to welcome our guest for today, tonight. And she is a Brazilian that is a world traveler. She has such an incredible story that starts in London, making its way back to Brazil, and spanning into Europe over a few different months. All right, to introduce our guest today, I will not say her name, but here she comes. Come on in, and I shall move the camera so you actually cannot see her because, like I said, she's anonymous. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. What should I call you on this anonymous confessional?
Thank you, girl. I don't know. You can call me Alice in the Wonderland.
Oh, we shall dub you Alice for this segment. I love it. All right, well, Alice, she definitely went down a wonderland in terms of opening up her heart and wanting to, allow herself, I will blur that out, and allow herself to feel love and be loved. But it was great that she was able to establish some boundaries with herself about what true love really means for herself before really getting deeper into this web that her Frenchman was trying to pull her into.
Oh my God.
So let's see, Alice, do you mind starting us from the beginning about what happened? Who are we even talking about? Take us back to the beginning, back to London.
Well, I had like a trip to go to London to visit my sister, and I was like, maybe I should get in a dating app and, give a chance to maybe meet someone. I didn't have a lot of time the first time that I went to London back in 2023. It was my first time in Europe. So in a way, I was just like, maybe that would be a shortcut to meeting people and it could be cool. My sister, she had a toddler and she might not be like super excited to go out with me and do things. And I was like really interested in seeing like London at night as well, like the nightlife.
Absolutely.
So I got in a dating app and was like, okay, let's check it out. Let's see who is there.
Yeah, and that's something that we absolutely do as travelers. When we arrive in a new destination, yes, you can try your best with going out to a new bar or a restaurant and trying to meet people organically, but most likely than not, even before we arrive in a location, we might be on a dating app just to try to be able to link up with people so we can plan something fun to do with them while we're in that location. So unfortunately, Bleep, she matched with this guy. Oh shit. Unfortunately for Alice, she matched with this guy and he was already out of London. But then what came next?
It was funny because I was in London when I matched him because I was actually playing that app before I went to London. And it was funny because it was one day that I was just like checking, my Instagram and things like that. And I actually had a date planned already.
Oh my gosh.
And then I matched with him. Yeah, I had a date planned.
With someone else.
Yeah, with someone else. Also French, though.
Side note, she has a type.
But then it was funny because I matched him and instantly we start talking, but he was already in Paris, though, at that time. So we didn't get to meet.
He was already in Paris, she says. I mean, you guys can hear her, but I just feel like I also have to look back at you because she's off camera just to add a little visual element to the storytelling. I would sign language the story if I could. I have had a few drinks to help loosen us up because Alice was a little bit nervous about joining us today. So excuse us for the little tipsiness, but I just feel like I need to like slightly echo what you're saying just in case for our listeners.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. And if I happen to say your name accidentally again, just punch me. Anonymous.
Well, I put makeup for that, so.
Right. Alice is fully camera ready, but hopefully in future episodes we can get her to actually come out with her face. Okay, so are we going to say his name? Or are we going to have him with a nickname as well?
Oh.
I just feel like his name is quite generic-ish sounding.
It's funny because my friends, like my Brazilian friends, are giving him like a nickname now.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, let's say his name, but we're gonna give him the nickname.
Yeah, what's the nickname?
Toninho.
Toninho.
It's like Tony.
But like a little Tony.
Let's call him Tony.
The Frenchman has been dubbed Tony. If you have met any French people or been to France, you can easily deduct what his name actually is. I hope that's enough.
It's also the name of your cat, so
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Tony is not in the studio at the moment, but there he is. Maybe he'll join us again in a bit. But anyways, back to Alice's story. So far, her and Tony, they connected on a dating app while she's in London. And then what came next?
Then I came back to Brazil and we started talking, and it was crazy because we didn't have the possibility of meeting. I think I loosened up and I was just being my true self because, I mean, this guy, he's not going to meet me. I'm not going to see him right now. Of course, I want to go back to Europe but at this point, there's like no chance that we're going to see each other. So I was just like having this through conversations, being myself, and we connected in such a deep level. In our conversations, they were everywhere. We talked about everything, and I could feel that he was, a little bit like an introspective person, but he could like open himself for me, and it was amazing. Like we were like really hanging out. We started having video calls and kind of like video call dates. I'll get like a bottle of wine, I'll get ready, and then we'll talk for 4-5 hours sometimes.
Can you take us back like just a tiny bit, because you match, and then it seems like you started developing this emotional connection through texting and video calls. But how did you even decide that was a direction you wanted to go with him?
Because the first moment that we matched, we talked for 6 hours.
From the very first moment they matched,
we talked for a long time. And
sorry, just gonna pull it back even more. What were you guys talking about from the very beginning of you matching that you think allowed you to continue opening up and blossoming in this beautiful type of way?
We were just talking about like how was to be like, he was, how can I say? He wanted to hear my experience from being a Brazilian for the first time in Europe. For me, it was, this guy was so interested in me. He showed such an interest, and he was so consistent. The next day, I would wake up in the morning and it would be like a good morning and a bonjour. It was so sweet the way that he was like following through. He would like constantly texting me. We had it was so funny the first time that we talked, because we talked for a long time. I was supposed to be sleeping because I had like a big day the next day. But no, I was just talking to this like person that I've never seen, like I've never met before, for so many hours. And then after that, he had a very solid personality in a way that he was constantly talking to me. So I mean, why not?
Yeah, I would definitely understand why not, especially when one of the best things we can show to someone in terms of letting them know that we're interested in them, or at least potentially interested, is by asking questions about them and wanting to understand about their journey. And sometimes people bypass that step. But as we can see with Alice's story, having Tony be curious about her really allowed space for her to want to open up emotionally, and allowed for them to create a long distance relationship prior to actually meeting each other in person.
I actually realized something that I think I've told you. Not really a big fan of the early stages. It's very difficult for me to like this anxiety that you can get from meeting people for the first time. And you have to go on a date and you don't know if they're gonna like you, and you get so nervous about so many little things. And because I couldn't meet him, it wasn't possible. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be myself, like fully. I'm just gonna say whatever and let's see how that goes, because it was freedom, the
Yes.
fact that I don't like the early stages. So there was no mask to put in that situation.
And I love that we're opposites in that I love the early stages. Like, first impressions for me, I'm like, I can crush it. It's like, I can totally understand how for other people, it definitely is something that makes them really nervous. And being able to, build that emotional connection through, a device in between you and some distance between you allowed you to really get more comfortable. Of course, I know Alice's story a bit. She's shared it with me. So I'm going to help guide us along, because the next big part is, but I want her to clarify the time frame. So you guys are chatting in London, and then before we know it, Mr. Tony has now arrived here in Brazil.
Well, actually, we chat in London that day, but then I had like a few days left. So we didn't like talk, like it was just like very quick after that. But when I came to Brazil, that was when we start talking and talking and talking consistently. I had bought a ticket to go back to Europe the following year in January.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if anyone heard about the 123 Miles website that sold people's tickets.
If anyone's listening that went through this situation, please comment that you understand the 123 Go situation with the airlines and that many people lost their airfare. And did you ever get a refund?
No, nobody ever did.
If you experience this, please write in the comments.
Yeah, so I was supposed to fly back to London in January of the following year, because it was 2023 when I met, when we matched online in April/May, and then my ticket was for January. So
Okay.
It was something to look forward to, because I got a ticket. Actually, I got a ticket in August. So I was like, it was a whole conversation of getting a ticket. I got a ticket. And then
But before he came to Brazil, right? Before you booked your ticket.
that was all before.
Okay.
And then 2 months later, like after I got my ticket, it was, I think, October. I booked my ticket in August after we've been talking for a few months. And then in October, I got actually a confirmation that that's not going to happen. The company got bankrupt. They're not delivering the tickets. Nobody's going to fly. So besides the fact that I was already like dealing with, all that money that I was still paying for my tickets, because in Brazil you can pay in parcels.
Yes.
So,
They're very lucky here. Like that.
but at the same time, I was like, okay, this is not happening. He was the first person that I kind of panicked over, like, I'm not going, that's not going to happen. And he was like, if you're not going, I will go to see you.
Mm.
And he kept like talking to me like he was going to do this for like a month. And I was like,
I'll believe it when I see it.
well, that's a Virgo as well. I believe it when I see it.
Should I start introducing guests by their three major signs?
I feel like if you give the big three in the beginning, people will understand a lot. You're giving like people like information that is so important.
Okay, let's segue that quickly in, just for our listeners to understand, if they are astrologically wise, what are your big threes, and to help identify how this story truly works out in the end.
Well, perfect. I'm a Virgo sun, rising Sagittarius, and moon in Scorpio.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Well, Tony.
We can bleep over whatever. we can.
Perfect.
The confessional. This is our first confessional, my listeners, my friends. Tony has now joined us. We now have two Tonys in the studio. Well, one Tony doesn't realize that he's being talked about here. But for this first confessional, just bear with us while we try to figure out exactly how to make sure people can remain anonymous and that we're not throwing anyone directly under the bus. But this is a space for us to freely explain and share our stories. Okay? So we'll just keep that in mind for both everyone involved. Okay, so Tony was wondering, like, oh, maybe I should just come to Brazil since she's having issues with her flights.
Yeah, and then he was like, when is a good time for me to come? What do you think about those dates? And I didn't really think that he was going to follow through with that decision. I was very like, yeah, sure. And then one day he was like, oh, can we have a date and hang out? I really want to book my ticket, and I want to make sure that you are on board with everything. He was such a good communicator at first. You know, oh, I'm gonna give his big three so you guys can.
Oh, yes.
Moon and Sun in Libra, rising Scorpio.
Okay.
And I really do like rising Scorpios though. It's definitely like a low profile guy that I kind of like. I enjoy because they are not like super showy. You get to peel
they're quite deep.
They're so deep. There's so many layers, and then they keep on coming. It's very exciting. I like that.
I do love it. I mean, I've mentioned that you should just go check out my natal chart, but since we're on this subject, I am a Taurus sun, a Capricorn moon, and a Cancer rising. Of course, there's a whole lot more involved with that to help, clarify who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing these days. But I just love that we're throwing out our big threes for this moment. Okay. So now we have your Scorpio rising guy who's like, oh, let me just be the nice guy and come and see you in Carnival in Brazil.
It was funny because he said that was like the most expensive date that he ever been in his life.
Well, that's part of the game. Honestly, for people in our lifestyle, we don't date like our friends back at home.
Nope.
I mean, we do. I do know some people that have been flown out to destinations for a date that were strictly people that were not considered digital nomads or expats or long-term travelers. But for us, it's pretty much the normal thing is that we have to fly or go out of our way to keep connections alive. So how was it once Tony arrived here in Brazil?
It was really weird because we've never met physically. And actually, before that, I was so many times riding my bike and thinking like, what if we don't like each other? I mean, we've seen each other, we talk to each other, we've like been talking all the time. But I was like, why? What if we look to each other and we're like, nah, I don't know. I was like, I had a little bit of like a cold feet a few days before he got here. But as soon as, and I went all the way to the Floripa airport. It's not like all the way. It's only like
she went 15 minutes all the way to the airport to go pick his ass up. But wait. Before you continue, I'm going to keep interjecting because I have so many great questions I'm sure our listeners have as well. But during your texting exchange, recap, how long was that time? About a year?
Well, we actually matched on May, and then he came to Brazil on February next year.
Okay, so like 9-10 months. Mm-hmm. Okay, for you, sorry, this is why she's also off camera. She doesn't know I was going to ask her this, but were you guys like getting intimate over the phone, being long distance, or So, like, when you're getting nervous about seeing him in person, it wasn't, like, nervous about, like, oh, like, I hope he thinks I'm beautiful or he thinks I'm sexy. No, it was more like...
I've texted, like, I mean, we're Brazilian, so he knew exactly what... He got, like, a butt.
Of course,
Brazilians were...
She started with that, like, it's like, of course it was the ass.
Exactly the ass that he's going to see.
And this is why this show is rated mature. You can keep using it. Okay, and we are back. I should have mentioned from the beginning that the After Dark series does include drinks. This is to also clarify that these are not coaching sessions. These are confessionals. This is a time for us to share real life experiences behind, what we're going through while we're out on the road, behind the Instagram cute photos. There's a lot of real heartache and real emotions that are happening. And that's what I want this space to really be about. All right, so back to our story. We have now talked about how you and Tony met in London. You were conversating over texts and videos with a little naughtiness involved. And then you were planning on going to Europe, but there was issues with the airline. So then Tony decided to actually fly out to Brazil to come visit you during Carnival. All right, let's pick up then.
And then he got here. I had like so many things planned out because I'm the queen of Carnival, I guess.
Oh my gosh, I saw them. It was the cutest thing ever.
I had the costumes ready. I had like all the programming, and we've been chatting about the things that we could do. He told me that he liked the animals. He wanted to see the turtles.
Wait, you mean by animals? You mean
actually the wildlife?
Wait, the capybaras? He's talking about the capybaras?
He's talking about the turtles because he saw that there's the Projeto Tamar here in Brazil. He was like, oh, we can see the turtles. And like, yeah, definitely. And then he saw that there were like other projects, and we were excited to, plan the whole thing. And I kind of like, I'm a Virgo again, so I like to plan things out, and it was easy for me. And also I want to get like my friends involved. I want my friends to, you met him.
I did. I got to meet Tony.
In a way, I was a little bit anxious for him to get here. So I want my friends to be on board as well. So I could feel that it's funny to think, because at first I thought that I wanted to see him in that whole Paris and, seeing him in his city. But then I realized that it was better. Even before that he got here, I was like, okay, I'm going to meet him for the first time in my environment, with my friends, with my people.
Very comfortable.
It was very comfortable. I had my dog there. If my dog doesn't like him, that's a red flag. So in a way, I was like, okay, of course, my dog freaking loved him. I was like, okay. But I had my friends, and I was talking to my friends and asking, especially the couples, I would like, you guys, please don't like hang out with me and being around. I want my friends on board for that. And it was really nice.
That's really important though. You want to make sure that you're not dating someone alone. Like it is, you want the input of your family and your friends, because it is a community that you're building.
And I'm very friend oriented. So like for me, like being around someone, my friends, it's Spice Girls all the way.
Yeah. Spice up your life.
You really got to get along with my friends. Otherwise, there's like no way. And the same way, I feel like meeting someone and meeting their friends and really getting to know their environment, it's important to me. So in a way, it was really nice that he got here, and I had my friends knowing that, and they were like sending me messages like, what are you guys doing? And do you want to do this? And like, even like other friends were like, oh, we can pick you guys up and take you guys to the waterfall. So it was really nice that I had this sense of like, he's coming to my environment. So when he arrived, I was really nervous, but it was so easy. It was, the same person that I've seen for so many calls, and it was easy. We got along so fast. Just, we hit it off.
Honestly, I knew that this was a big moment for you guys, but I did not realize that you hadn't actually spent physical time together before meeting you guys at Carnival. The second I walked up to them at Carnival, they looked like they'd been together for years. You guys seemed so comfortable together, so in love with each other. Of course, he was a little shy because he was very much out of his element. He's definitely a little bit of a stiff Frenchie in that sense. But the second she gave him a little mushrooms, everything was fine.
Hey, I got him like even a French friend to come over.
Oh my God, and her French friend.
See my friends. They really got my back. I had my American friends, my English-speaking friends.
An international group for sure.
I literally booked the Frenchie. Like they were like they hit it off as well.
It was a really cute moment. And like that was just the beginning of us during one part of Carnival.
It's so funny because I've never heard you talk about this, like what you saw.
Oh, true, huh? I guess I was saving it for the podcast.
And it is funny because that was Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you guys were like making out hot during the Carnival. Like,
we were high.
Yeah, so just to like back up that I've never gone through Carnival before, what you do is you participate in blocos, which are like moving parades. And so during the blocko, it was a plant theme, which also meant that majority of us were not sober. And this blocko also started at like
who was sober? No, just the children.
This is a blocko where everyone's dressed like plants, and it starts at 10 a.m. So if it's an early start time, we're just like plants. Like you can put A and B together. Like of course we're smoking weed, we're taking mushrooms, we're dancing in the streets, we're having the best fucking time possible. Alice is there with her Frenchie, and he's just like, what the fuck is this all about? Like everyone's so happy, so smiley. So of course she gave him some mushrooms, and that made everything so much better.
I don't think I've ever seen him smile so hard. And I have like such good memories about that day because it was so good to me to see him like hanging out with my friends. He was talking to everyone.
He was
really like, and I know how that can be difficult for him because I'm an extrovert.
Oh my gosh, we just got an alert on my phone. Oh, you can't see the alert. But apparently there is... Wait, I'm going to let the actual Brazilian translate.
Oh, it's supposed to like rain and to be very, very windy, but it's going to be okay.
We just got a weather alert, which is I keep forgetting to mention that we're here in Florianopolis, Floripa, Brazil, in southern Brazil. This whole time I have been hearing thunder in the background, but it's also been an absolutely gorgeous day. Like you see how I'm dressed right now. Like it's not cold here. It's not rainy season. And yet,
the weather's
something is coming.
Yeah, the weather's gonna change very quickly.
We're supposed to go out tonight, you guys.
We're going out tonight.
Okay, I guess we're still going out tonight, but you know that's gonna lessen who else is going out tonight. So okay, cool. Back to the story. He was having an amazing time during Carnival.
Yeah, I think he had like. It was funny because I told him like it would be cool if you go to the bloquinho on Saturday. If you don't want to do it to go to another one, we don't need to.
Translation. Bloquinho is a little blocko, so a little parade.
We went to one on Saturday, but it was Carnival. So we have a blocko every day for the next 5 days. And I was like, I want to go to this one. I think it would be cool for you to see this one. It's in the neighborhood. It's walking distance. So it's easy to go back home. If you change your mind, we're right there. We can walk home from anywhere. So this is like for sure.
Like you were the most accommodating host ever. Always making sure that no matter what, he was going to feel comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, besides the fact that I want my friends to be around and like friends that would make him also feel comfortable, spoke his language. That was important to me. And it was also the block that it was easy for us to get back home. But I told him that there was another one on Monday. That's actually my favorite one, the animal block.
Yes.
And he didn't need to go if he didn't want it. He couldn't stop asking about that block. He was like, so on Monday, we're going to the animal block, right? So on Monday, he asked so many times. And I was like, if you change your mind, he was like, no, I want to go. He really loved it. And that was like, aw.
So this is her favorite blocko, by the way. This is her favorite part of Carnival is this Monday parade. I can understand how it did mean a lot to you that he really gravitated towards your favorite blocko and wanted to participate with your favorite one and kept asking about it. Even more of like pulling you in, thinking there's like so much alignment here.
I could see how much effort as like it's very easy to meet friends. I was telling you before, like meeting moms and friends. I'm very open. I really like, if I like someone, of course I want to meet their people. Yeah. So for me, it's really easy. But even though that I'm here like as a you know.
Anonymous.
Oh my God, anonymous. I'm usually an extrovert. Even my friends, they can't believe how shy I can be because I'm usually an extrovert.
But I'm like that too.
That's not Tony, though. He's not an extrovert. He's an introvert. He has a really hard time, you know, being around a lot of people. It can be very stressful for him.
I mean, I can understand that, but I met him at, how many people do you think were in this parade with us?
5,000 people.
So can you imagine an introvert the first time meeting your close friends in Brazil on an island? We're in Floripa. Of course, I just assumed he was just nervous and because of that. I didn't actually quite realize that he was an introverted person.
Yeah, he's very introverted. He has a really hard time like expressing himself. And I mean, with me, I felt that it was easy. The fact that we couldn't meet and that like the same way that opened like this like channel to me that I can be myself, it opened for him. I can be as crazy as I want. And for him, he was like, well, this girl's being crazy. Someone might get my crazy as well. And he was open to it as well. But I feel like by the time that he was in that 5,000 group people, we were safe with each other.
Yeah,
you know,
very much so.
Butt out, you know? It was like Carnival.
Isn't that normal?
But even Brazilian, even this year, after like that last year, it was the first time that I went with like just like a swimming suit and fishnets and not having something on top of my butt. This year that I didn't have a guy, funny story, I did not do it. I felt.
Oh, I did actually notice that. But yeah, my ass was out this year. I'm just going to say this just in case, not wanting to jinx the show or anything. But since we got that alert on my phone, the weather has picked up drastically. So if the power happens to go out, that's what happens in living on an island. I just wanted to say that just in case. And if we can figure out how to re-record an ending later, we will do so. But let's fingers crossed.
It's gonna work.
It's gonna work. It's gonna be fine.
Okay. We're already halfway there.
We have not even gotten to Europe, you guys. Okay, so for the sake of the weather and for our listeners, because I don't know how long we've been recording for. I think we're 30 minutes in now. So, you guys. So okay, let me semi-recap here. He came to Brazil for Carnival. You showed him the most amazing hospitality possible from a girlfriend who had just met their partner, essentially, for the first time physically. And he really was able to come out of his shell and be authentic and have fun with her and relate to her in ways that she wasn't quite sure if he could actually do. And he proved that he could. So then you guys ended the trip really well. And the next steps were, when are we going to see each other again? That's often the next thing we ask each other after we've had great moments, while traveling together. So what came next?
Well, what came next, like what is very important to me to say is that how there was so many things happen here, so many promises that were said, so many stories that we pictured together.
So when you were here, you were also planning your future together.
We were kind of planning. We could see it.
You don't have to sugarcoat it. Were you planning or were you kind of planning?
No, we were planning though.
Yeah.
When he was here, he was reassuring so many things that we felt the connection. And when we realized that the physical connection was amazing, it was something that really, really like assured everything. And we were like, okay, we had like crazy stories about like this hippie guy to come to us and start talking about love and making like rings for us. It was insane.
I love this.
We had a whole like exchanging of a ring kind of thing, and he used that against me later on. But yeah, at that time there were a lot of promises made. There was a lot of things that were beyond just like, well, let's hang out in Paris and see where that goes. It was like, come to Paris. I'll show you what you've showed me.
Yeah.
And then we can decide what we're doing. But we're doing this together.
From the conversations that we had afterwards, it very much seemed that way. This visit here was spectacular. You guys had to see what was coming next. And you didn't want to wait too long for that to happen.
And it was funny because he even got involved with his parents. He was like really like telling about me to his parents, and it was like very reassuring that they were like, "Oh, we're talking about you right now." And he would send me audios of his like brothers and things like that. Like just come to friends and things like that, and was like,
I mean, that's so sweet. Unfortunately, like I know how this story goes, but listeners, like please keep listening because we're not trying to make this seem like it's going to be a tragic story that comes next. It's a story. It might have felt tragic in that moment, but the lessons that we're taking out of it are not tragic at all. If anything, they are so inspiring, so empowering, and that's why I very much wanted to have Alice on this show today. Okay, so now that we established that Tony was being wow, the weather it is fully pissing down now.
"No, that's funny photo."
I know, but I was just on like 3 motorbikes today wearing a tank top and shorts, and I'm shocked that it's raining now. Okay, we are going to take a moment and be right back. Surprise! This has turned into a part 2. Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of our first anonymous confessional. But yeah, you'll need to stay tuned and tune in next Monday in order to hear part 2, because honestly, this story has so many twists and turns and is quite long where I didn't want you to have to sit through one full episode. So I made it 2, because why not? So yes, thank you so much for tuning in today. And see you when you see me next time on Nomad Love Lab. Cheers.